mode. Okay. Um, let's see now.
Yeah, this is fine.
Is it full screen now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Okay, great.
Thank you.
All right. So let's continue. Thank you, Ashan. Professor Sumana, maybe very quickly, if you can unmute, or if you think you are still in another meeting, then we could go with Kiran, and then you can chip in at the last in the sequence. Uh, okay. I think it looks like she's busy, but maybe Kiran, you can go next. Very quickly
Yeah,
introduce
hello
yourself, Kiran.
everyone. Thank you, Balaji, for making me part of this workshop. And I'm a assistant professor at the Department of Architecture, Planning and Design at IIT BHU. So I've been working on built environment for the last 10 to 15 years. I come from an interdisciplinary, both the design and engineering background. So I think when Balaji told me about the BiBo game, I was quite interested because so this is one pedagogic technique that I think which is emerging, which is the need of hour. I think considering the short attention span of students in the class in a traditional teaching. So I am looking forward, I think, to see, I think, how these techniques can be helpful in my coursework also. Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
for that.
Great, great. Thanks, Kiran. Next, maybe Karpagam, if you
Yeah,
may introduce
sure, sure.
yourself.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
Shri Karpagam. I'm a PhD research scholar at IIT Madras. I'm doing my PhD in the construction management department. So my current area of focus is understanding, like, while we have a lot of technological advances, why sustainable construction practices are not getting improved, and adoption, like specifically with regards to the organizational adoption. So that is what we are currently looking at. I was also interested in understanding, like, how students and other organizations and other stakeholders perceive these practices when moving from traditional to conventional practice, from conventional to sustainable practices. So that is when I got very much interested towards what Balaji sir was looking at through games or through workshops and things like that. So yeah, nice to meet you all, and look forward to more interactions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Karpagam. Last, our friend Raman, Ram.
Hi everyone. So my name is Ramnathan. I'm based out from
It's
Chennai. I mean,
cracking.
now in
Ram,
Pondicherry.
Ram,
Can
your
you hear
voice is
me?
cracking.
Can you hear me now?
Somewhat better. Yes. Can you continue speaking? It was
Yeah.
breaking
So
before.
I'm based out at Pondicherry. I graduated with a doctoral degree from Singapore University of Technology and Design in 2020. And after that, I've been working with a few firms on a freelance basis. I'm presently with World System Solutions. It's a platform which tries to build for climate change and to collaborative murmuration of people together and to act on climate change. So, little background: I've been with Balaji for quite some time now, since Singapore days, where he was doing his PhD and I was doing my master's then. So from then, I've also been helping him out with writing a few papers on BiBo and other games as well. So that's been my association with them, and looking forward to collaborating with you all.
Okay. Thank you, Ram. Do we have Professor Sumana? Are you there? Um, Okay. Um, I think she told me that she's in another meeting and she would join when it is complete. But I think she has jumped in between. But anyway, when she joins, we will have her also, introduce maybe towards the end. But yeah, she is. I have met her recently in a workshop at Kolkata in the previous summer. So she's a faculty in architecture there, and she was one of the participant of the workshop that I hosted. So she found it interesting as a pedagogy as well. So most of us here who have gathered have shared interest in exploring games, as pedagogical tools to educate and drive and what do you call innovation or through systematic research. So that's the whole intention. How do we also advance practice, specifically in architecture, is what we some of us are also interested in. So with this introduction, I think I will move forward to set the context. So this is a very I think this is the hottest news that I got, to set the context for the today's thing. So this is a study done by Global Survey, where you can see there were about 300 plus schools across the world, universities, and 150 countries. They conducted a survey to study what is the future of architectural education is. And this is a study that I got today, in the morning. So it says, architectural education is at a juncture. I also came across this fact, that as university sorry in America, they have also revoked or kind of rethinking about architectural practice. They want to shut down the architectural education. So a lot of things are happening, especially with that, advancements in AI. So at this time, I think it is relevant to also see what these sort of studies also point to, and how do we now kind of reimagine. We are all doing education and teaching and research in architectural schools and related departments, and therefore maybe it is important to bring this message, is what I why I have this here. So the idea is, it's changing and we need to evolve. And what are the various forces that are actually driving this change? Climate breakdown, social inequality, digital transformation, and decolonization. So those are some of the themes that people have acknowledged in this report, and you're welcome to see. This is a study by Northumbria. I will be happy to share this, later to you, where you can read through this entire study to know more. So that's one. And then here is another interesting study. It's not latest, however, it is still relevant, which talks about urbanization and its relevance to building construction sector. I have this is a study by it's called Global Mega Trends. The picture and the insights are taken from that, conducted by Copenhagen Institute of Future Studies, and it talks about by the end of this century how uh, urbanization will impact cities around the world. And and most of the urbanization and building construction activities will be predominantly dominated in global south, with more cities emerging in Africa, Asia, Latin America. Right. And what does this indicate is the fact that this industry has a lot more work to do in terms of construction activities. And it also points to the fact that most of us who believe and work in urban studies believe that in cities is where the problems of this century are going to be also, so perhaps even solved, right? You take any problem, for instance, from healthcare to anything that you take. So people are working in cities, and therefore a lot of migration is going to happen in to cities from other parts of the country, around the world. And this is where the economy is, and therefore urbanization is inevitable in today's context. So I have also captured some more relevance to set the context of building industry and other things that is happening, right? So there's another study conducted by a bunch of people, including Cambridge, Ramid's group, where they have conducted a global study, not global study, European centric study with 5 countries. 5,000 plus people participated in the survey, which talks about the importance of participation and public in communicating and co-designing society. Especially in this case, they are talking about carbon removal and solar irradiation management as a specific theme. However, I think we can extend this to the nature of work that each of us work related to built environment, right? So how important it underlines the fact that how important is to have people and public participation in the kind of discourses and topics that we are studying. And specifically, they have identified, public views are quite diverse in terms of understanding what is coming up. Level of familiarity, trust, in these technologies are lacking, and therefore they also show that the support is required. Now that's one particular study. It's a recent study from Europe, and another study that I wanted to draw your attention, or not the study, but some of the statistics is in about India, and some of us are in India and concerned about shaping building sector in India. We at 2020 we have about 1.3 billion people living in cities. 2050 it is expected that 2.5 it's going to be double. 2.5 billion people are going to reside in cities, and by end of the century, 4.3 billion people. Now, sorry, this is the population of the country trends, but the urban population here is also written alongside. So 36% population, of people living in cities by 2020, and 60% is expected by 2050. And we currently have about 57 billion square meter of built space, or expected to be built by 2050, and about 260% growth from where it is, how much ever we have built in urban, India, in 2015. So that's a kind of growth that we are anticipating, that buildings will contribute to, or will have an impact in urban India. And we, at the same time, we have also committed to carbon neutrality, and there is a long journey. So we have, quite a long time horizon to actually decarbonize the sector as a whole, also. So that's European viewpoint, and also specifically Indian context. So I am trying to kind of position this particular slide, the paradigm building industry is growing. And here are some pictures left that I've taken from different studies, which talk about how technology and integrated design is quite becoming prevalent in current architectural and building science practice and profession, right? Where we are trying to, you know, embed and see how we can integrate all different stakeholders, including environment, and who are controlling or managing facilities, to occupants who use, in kind of delivering different performances that the buildings are expected to deliver, while optimizing resources as well. So therefore, there is a growing trends in integrated design, especially using digital technologies. And here is a pie chart at the center, which also shows that, projections of various buildings, especially in the United States, talks about how building industry is going to evolve in the next, this century, from gray buildings to green and, net zero buildings, both in residential and commercial sector. It gives us, horizon of how building industry in the United States is going to evolve, and what are the trends that are shaping this, especially in energy, in the context of energy in buildings. And here are the three pictures that I have, I've taken as an example. Here is to also show buildings are prone to, while they are transitioning with a lot of objectives to deliver, and trying to balance the performance indicators, there are various challenges that the building industry is also facing. The extreme right picture is a Grenfell Tower fire, because of the use of, inappropriate cladding material that has exacerbated the growth of fire very rapidly in matter of minutes. That entire 16-story, social housing in London has been burned down, and it claimed about 100, 200 odd people died. And this has become a very central issue about policy and governance and regulations of, housing construction, and the choice of materials. While we are looking at insulation materials, and, to insulate built environment indoor, how how can we overlook at some of the challenges and risks that the buildings pose. So that's one example, and there are a couple of other examples of how tech and non-tech and using glazing, architectural practices currently, also explore largely, the contemporary architecture use glazed facades, and what sort of risks can glassed, building can attract. And here are some example. One of them is a lamp phone attack. I don't have time to go into the depth, but some of us, we have exchanged the ideas in the past. So that's one attack which talks about you don't need any medium whatsoever to eavesdrop on conversations in a building. To be able to, all that you need is, a clear line of sight. And attackers can, from a really distant place about 25, 30 meters, they can eavesdrop on conversations. So the kind of built environment elements in the design here is, the glass facade and a blind and a lamp fixture, right, hanging lamp fixture are the elements that are required for an attack like this to take place, is what it demonstrates. So how should now, and that is one attack. Another attack is a lidar phone, which looks at the use of what do you call, vacuum cleaners that we all know, robotic vacuum cleaners. How can it, silently eavesdrop on conversations using, day-to-day objects that are surrounded by us? So there is a lidar technology that is there embedded within it. How are attackers taking advantage of, some of these technologies, and also building elements and building, the objects within the built environment to facilitate or to introduce attack, into the building. So I have just wanted to bring your attention, because the whole idea of this, me talking about all this, is to kind of say that these are two different worlds, or there are many different stakeholders involved, and how do we bridge these, the gaps between these world of security domain, say safety domain, with architect and civil engineers who are practicing and actively and pushing the frontiers of innovation within the building construction. So they have to be mindful, and these two people and actors should come together. And how do we facilitate that is where I started thinking about games as participatory design interventions to bring these people together. So continuing on, we kind of started exploring various games as tools that have come into the built environment, and what sort of themes that people exploring. We've discovered, what do you call, energy is a common theme that people have, in the past have built a few tools. I have a couple of examples as a pictures here. People also are looking at how do we shape occupant behavior, for example, in case of emergency situations of evacuation or fire, or a flood or something like that. So there are some studies where games are used for training, and shaping human behavior in case of emergency in buildings. So those are some prominent themes. We have also observed that while these games are there, it's not so much prevalent in Asia. In the context of Asian buildings is something that we also found. And specifically, I would like to draw attention to a few games that I have here, and these are quite recent games that you might wanted to also know about. For example, the game What to Waste or Water Waste is a recent study, by a master student work in University of Southampton. This year she has developed a game whereby she wanted to try shaping, multi-tenancy users, multi-tenancy occupants in UK housing. How should they shape their attitude and towards energy consumption in housing within UK, and enabling behavioral change thereby. So that's a card game that she has come up with. I'm happy to share you if you are interested. It's an open source, so she has all the data. She has tested it with the different occupants in UK social housing. That's number one study. And the net zero energy race game is a study from United States, also a recent study published earlier this year in American Journal for architectural engineering, where they have a board game very similar to your a Monopoly. It again is specific to American homes to accelerate net zero, what do you call, transition of energy within occupants in American housing, is the whole idea about this, in terms of making choices of materials and purchases that you do. How do you, what are the things to keep in mind, is another board game that have evolved. And one of the card game that I got also to know, developed by one of my colleague in Denmark a few years ago, is basically to assess the the readiness of organizations, especially in construction sector, by using a card game that she has come up with, to see what are the various organizations related to construction sector, what do they know about digital technologies out there, and how are they using some of these technologies in their businesses, is something that she where she developed card games to actually study and assess digital technological readiness among organizations related to construction sector. So I mean, these are some games. I thought there are a few more, but these are somewhat relevant to today's context. So therefore I thought we should have them here. So when I started designing, BiBo, so we had certain initial design goals of them. So how do we now develop data skills, so that any with knowledge, any disciplinary knowledge, who are interested in building sector, of course, can contribute to this. How should we educate other disciplines also through games? And can we also extend education to also skill building and skill development relevant to the 21st century? Can games, play a role in that? Is one of the theme that we had in mind when we designed BiBo. Second is to again shape, a strategy and innovation within organizations, whereby can we show organizations what building construction sector is after is up for in future, what are the trends and policies that you can anticipate, and how therefore how do you design your policies, sorry, products or services, so that you stay relevant, so you continue your business and your business is not disrupted. So how should we use games in that context to shape organizational strategy and drive uh, the future, is another theme that we design. We also thought that the kind of serve various target audiences, including students, educators, researchers, geography alone. So therefore, we make a game where all the design elements of a building are kind of representative of different materials, from temperate to tropical, for example, in the choice of materials that we use in construction. So that's something that we have also given a thought, so that the game or the tool is relevant, across the world. And finally, can we now also think about using and deploying game as a social intervention, as play, whereby we can drive behavioral change, is another important aspect of our game design. With this, we started thinking what should be the fundamental of the game. So we started with, mapping some of these objectives into this, and we got this sort of map, where we said we wanted to have four life cycle stages that everyone should be aware about, because if you're talking about LCA, we should know what is cradle to grave, what is the impact of embodied carbon, where are the materials coming from, where it will go, and how the life cycle, what are the various stages of building construction life cycle, how it can change, how can we adapt to change when we are building the building in the first place. So how should we so we thought it is important to inform through our game what are the various life cycle stages for anybody outside the discipline. Of course, people in within the discipline will knows this. So that is one of the criteria that we had. And second criteria is the functions that buildings are supposed to deliver, right, across these life cycle, right. And so we took that. You can see those things mapped out in the picture on the center. Life cycle stages, we said structural design, interior design, service and MEP design, and finally, retrofit for future needs. Right. So that's four life cycle stages that we have considered in the game. Second, functions is basically building as a shell. It has to supposed to insulate from the weather outside. So therefore, it accommodates various needs. So what is that? We call that as shelter in this case. Which accommodates people and business and functions. And second is operation. So buildings are supposed to deliver some function, be it an office or a school. How does it deliver that? Buildings deliver that, and what makes building operational. And third thing is productivity. So if some buildings needs to have extra productivity, what are those systems that delivers improved productivity? And so that's something that we thought we should also have in the game. And of course, sustainability is interweaved in the process of use of resources in during the operational phase. How do we optimize buildings resources, is something we thought we should have. Finally, the stakeholders, very important. We thought we should inform through the game who are the stakeholders for which the building is being designed and how it is being managed or optimized. So we considered four key stakeholders: owners who own the building, tenants, occupants, and of course facilities manager in this case. And we thought, in the design thinking of the game should be modular. It should be scalable. It should kind of be intuitive, and of course we want to make it experiential through a play. And I edutaining. The games are meant to be serious games are meant to be not just different from games. Games are supposed to be delivering entertainment alone, but serious games are supposed to also have a certain learning objective, interweaved. So we thought education is important, or edutaining is important. And finally, some strategy should also be involved in terms of balancing economics in the design of buildings and construction practices. So those are some ideas that with which we started thinking, and we came up with this kind of a board, on the left, which has got four stages, as you can see. With each stage of the building, it's a two-dimensional game, or a board. Each stage from bottom to top has got six what do you call, placeholders where you can place the cards, or you which you are given with. So the game comes with a base board like this, which has got 24 boxes in total, but the game comes with a pack of 37 cards in the original design when we came with the first version. And it is played in the form of a role whereby we wanted to mimic the real engagement that happens between a contractor and owner of a facility or a building. So there is a role play there, and it is cooperative in the extent that within the team that there is a cooperation between various professionals within a contract, architectural contract company. And there is of course a sense of competition in the scenario designed we have in the play, where two or multiple contractors compete for a design, for a project, of a construction project. And there are three scenarios. I will walk you through the scenarios that we have designed. And of course, these scenarios are played in sequence. Typically, the play or the activity takes about 50 to 60 minutes. Right. So that is some detail about the play. And here are the scenarios. The first scenario is a baseline where you are supposed to use the card within the team. And it is again, these games are unlike other games. These requires facilitation or guidance. So it's a guided play where a facilitator intervenes, and then he explains what is the scenario about, how to play the scenario in the first 15 minutes using the cards and the board given to you, or you meaning the participants. So they are supposed to collaborate within their team. The team is composed of architects, engineers, or other professions which are typical to a architectural contract firm. So they collaborate with each other. They make decisions of what is it problem given to them. How do they exercise the cards in terms of using them with certain strategy in mind, right? And the balancing economic versus the design intent the project is supposed to deliver. So they work independently into multiple teams, and using the card and the board given to them. And then they populate the first three levels within the four level in the board that you saw. After they complete in the 15 minutes that particular part, the all the teams will then share their key design intent, and then the second step, second scenario, the facilitator again guides them as to what is this retrofitting scenario is. Now that you constructed a building, now there is a description that is given in italics here. So we say that there is a policy that the city enforces, and how should you now adapt your existing building to meet that new policy. In this case, there is a net zero energy goal that the existing building stock has to meet. And now therefore you the participants will go back to the game, the board, and they will use the cards, reshuffle them, and then see how can they now organize the cards in the board in such a way that the fourth level in the game, where the retrofit fourth stage in the fourth level, they use the cards appropriately, so that they know what are the cards that they can put, or what kind of systems goes into retrofitting an existing building to make it net zero in the future. So that's a scenario that we play. And the third scenario, slightly different from the net zero retrofit, is adaptive use of building. So building has, when you're building at first place, has to also adapt for various tenants and the needs of various tenants. So if there is a new tenant coming in, how should your existing building, without having to break down or demolish, how can you adapt? So how do you educate or teach them about retrofitting and a building adaptively, so that the carbon and you reduce the carbon and meet the sustainability goals. So that is a third scenario, again slightly different from the retrofit. So they again play the fourth level in the game. They In this case, I give a scenario of a new tenant with a different requirement. So they are supposed to use different systems again from the cards, and then place them appropriately, to tell and demonstrate that these are the kind of systems that now they need to meet the future needs of a new tenant. And finally, once all the three scenarios are over, which is like 40 minutes or so in the game, finally they all we come together, convene, and then we have a debriefing session or 10-15 minutes at end, and then we discuss some of the learnings out of this entire exercise. So that's how the activity is conducted, and these are the 37 cards that we have designed. As you can see, every card comes with a title and an element which we have curated from various which makes up various parts of the building, from a structural element to in an envelope, or mechanical, electrical, plumbing, systems, services, and also interior design is taken into account to a certain extent, and also some energy systems, future energy systems are also there. So they look at all these different cards and they exercise, and every card also comes with certain price per unit area. So in the play, we also tell that this is the kind of building, and this is the area of the building that you're supposed to build. So as a play, they also kind of have to bear in mind how to balance economy. So you cannot fancily build a building, but the people who are buying, or the owner, cannot afford such buildings. So how do you balance economy versus a design, is something that we thought as a strategy the game should educate them about. So therefore you have three design elements in the card: the title, the image, to intuitively help participants from different backgrounds understand what does this card or the title mean, and the cost or economy of that particular element. So we have done some of these gameplays in different parts of the country, and thanks to Ashan and others, right, who have helped me deploy that in different parts of the country. And these are specific things that I have played with BiBo. So you can see some pictures from Norway, and in Chennai. Kolkata was a latest one that we did in where I'll talk about the scenarios or the examples where we have explored the same game with different themes that we wanted to investigate. So, for example, the example use cases that I have tried so far are energy transition. So, these are researchers, senior researchers in Smart Innovation Norway, looking at energy transition in Nordics. they are studying and they are developing projects whereby they want to advance energy transition within the society, not just alone building sector alone, but broadly, so energy transition in society. So I engaged with them, whereby the game through BiBo we were exploring energy transition with those part of people, players. And we also I also played it with bunch of various people who came to Netherlands for a behavioral change conference, where we studied how this sort of a game can influence inform various actors to change their behavior also. And then we also I also did something in Chennai with by to educate children, especially in schools, using games to raise awareness about green buildings and practices. Incidentally, somebody who took part in this particular workshop, a year later, she went on to build a school based on this literacy that she got through this game in rural India. And she raised about 25 lakh Indian rupees to make school building that is green and sustainable. So that's something that the gameplay has delivered, and which is like one of the success stories, I would say, where awareness led into some action and practice. Fourth, we also did game night or a party, inviting post work, inviting a bunch of architects and planners, and social activists in the city, to take part and explore how can we what can we do about various themes in cities and challenges cities are facing in Chennai. And then we also explored, I was part of educate using this tool to explore how can we advance what do you call innovation, especially in building construction in the army settlements in Jhansi. That is another educational workshop that I delivered using this as the game. Finally, we did study. The game was used to study green buildings adoption in the residential sector in Kolkata, where this workshop brought various actors, including children, including banks, including researchers, concerned with green building transition. So how can we use game to basically communicate, and so those intuitively communicate the ideas about green buildings, so that the adoption in the market takes place. So that is another use case that we explored, using BiBo Play. So these are some topics that I have just thought about for discussion, but I will stop here, which we can continue to discuss. Maybe now I will invite Ram to share some findings that we have been also drafting and collecting data from all these different workshops, and doing some qualitative and quantitative mixed methods research. We have some interesting, insights that we have identified, and we are in the process of submitting these into a journal article, right? So I would invite Ram at this time to share some of them, and then it will give you some idea of what sort of possibilities that we can think about using BiBo.
Balaji, I have some issue with
So,
my Wi-Fi
mhm.
connection, so I connected it on my mobile. I'll try to
Okay.
get back to my laptop. Just give me some time. So meanwhile, if we can
Do
start
you want me to
discussing.
pull the paper? I can also do that
Sure,
if you think
sure,
you
sure,
want
sure.
that.
If we can do
Huh?
that, that will also be good. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, let me pull that. Yes, just a minute. Just a minute. Sorry about the. Okay, Ram, can you see?
It's still loading, Balaji. One sec.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So if you can,
1 minute, 1 minute. Okay.
so if we can
Yes.
go to the survey first, we can just show the survey questions just briefly for them. Uh, and then we can come
Okay,
back to this
okay.
so that they can relate it much better.
I'll share this up. So what we do eventually, essentially pre and post, play sessions, we also try to gather qualitative response on various themes, right? Using a survey like this. You can see the screen, right?
Yes, Balaji.
Appendix. Yeah. Ram, go ahead.
Yeah, so we devised a questionnaire with some questions which would be having pre and post analysis data for us. You see, question two, we talk about how do you rate your knowledge on different aspects of net zero initiatives prior to BiBo gameplay. And we have another question at the end of the survey which talks about how do you rate it after the gameplay. So we have a pre and post comparison as well. And most of the other questions, it's more rating and it's also open ended as well. So we have a mix of different types of questions, and we also group it into different sections. If you see here, starting from question 5, it's for education. We want to see how BiBo kind of educated people in trying to understand about climate emergencies, what could be the different kind of learnings that they had, like analytical thinking, creative innovation, like question 7. If you go down further, the next section is on behavioral change. So once they have a learning and once they kind of understand what could be the change that they can bring in, so then we think about and ask questions on behavioral change, how the game influenced them, and what would be their kind of an approach from here on in when they meet similar kind of situations or aspects. And the last section is on the target groups. So we were trying to see what kind of a mix would be much better with playing the game, and how can they learn better when they play the game with different people with different intellectual capacities and like multidisciplinary games. And we also have just one question which is on innovation to see like what could be a larger kind of an learning from the process. So could it be a new business model? Could it be a new value chain that they can think about? Or is it a new engagement model? If so, they can also elaborate on that. So we kind of, collected these 21 questions, and the data was then analyzed. So if you can go back, Balaji, to that table where we have the data. Yeah. So we had about 29 respondents, and we collected the information across these 21 different questions. And our analysis kind of showed that we had about if we can still go down. So this is the comparison of the analysis that we did. So question 2 and 9 are the pre and post. So other questions were standalone questions, which were just trying to understand what is their they were open-ended as well, and it was also with some rating schema that we had. So if you go down still.
I want to bring attention to this plus 2 plus 5, right? So we also try to see how in a scale, how before and after, whether how significant was the difference, right? So NC for no difference, but if pre and post there was an increment of +1 or +2 or +3, that also shows whether the game has informed and influenced them positively, to what extent. So that is.
And in addition, if you just go back to the table, Balaji, again, the P and N stands for positive and negative. So if you see, there have been a lot of positive responses. The table that you referred now, just go down. Yeah. So in addition to NCs for no change, so there was no change in learning or their knowledge of pre and post. you see very few people talking about that, but P and N is for positive and negative. So you see a lot of positive responses where people say that there had been some learning and there had been a positive intent when they, at the end of the gameplay. If we can go down now. So yeah, so the first one that we understood was net zero. What was their understanding, and how did the pre and the post shape up to? So we had this on a scale of +1 to +5. So if you see here, most of the respondents have really reported high kind of post gameplay understanding and learnings after they got done with the gameplay with BiBo. So that's for the first diagram that you see here. On the x-axis you have the participants, on the y-axis you have the self-reported confidence level of how much their gain was when at the end of the gameplay for pre and post. And the second visual that you see here is mostly on what are the different kind of contributions or learning that they have. So people reported that they have collaboration, systems thinking, problem solving, and you see a lot of positive. The green one is positive. So you see all these different questions, 5, 6, 7, and 8 targeted on different aspects. You see a lot of positive intent that's being shown from the respondents. And the figure 5 explains to you what was their kind of responses on these different aspects. So question 21 was targeted on team engagement, whether they felt there was enough team contribution and collaboration that was happening, and the new ideas that came out as question 18. And question 12 was on target users, to say what is the mix of target users that we are looking at when doing the gameplay. And question 10 was more on energy citizenship, what they carry forward as behavioral change at the end of the gameplay. So you see a lot of positive responses coming out. And we also found out that it was fostering a lot of behavioral change, and it helped us in shaping up those 21st century skills. So I mean, this is just a paper in draft, and we also tried to see what kind of alignment that it brought in with the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. And we see that for climate action, because it kind of inculcates the behavioral change, we have used that data to kind of map it there. And quality education, what kind of learning that they had. Partnerships, it's more on the teamwork and what are the different kind of user groups that they can work with. And sustainable cities, based on their learnings on how what actions that they can perform at the end of the gameplay. So we had these different SDG alignments as well. So this is just a draft paper in progress, and this is a small data set that we started with. But then I think we have some meaningful results coming out of this, and we would like to probably kind of scale it up. And one thing that we wanted to do was also make it online to have a digital game, but that will have its own advantages as well. But this is just a starting thing that we wanted to do, and yeah, so that's basically it. Balaji, over to you.
Yeah. So I think we can pause and break if someone wants to have water or something, and then maybe in 5 minutes we can convene. And the idea is to now brainstorm with this understanding about the game and what we have been doing. Great design approach for bringing what you call participation to study some problems. And I've already discussed what are problem areas or applications we have been exploring so far, and how we design the survey to collect data and make evidences right out of it. So we will now, once we come back after 5 minutes, we will perhaps take discussions further, right? Where some ideas are here, but we can also what can we do and after that. So I'll pause here, right? And then if you guys want to take a 5 minute break, we will have a water break and come back. Yeah, is that fine, everyone? Yeah. Okay, great. Hello, I'm back, guys. Professor Sumana, are you back?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
You were, when did you
I
join?
was there mute and I was just going through looking into the slides.
Okay,
That's it.
okay,
Uh,
okay,
s-
good, good. Thank you
just
so much.
returned. Yeah.
So maybe
I just wanted
when we
to,
all resume now, I mean, we missed out introducing yourself. So maybe you can briefly introduce, and then we
because
can
I was
go
in a
proceed
meeting
with this.
there. There was a meeting going on.
Yes, yes, I
So
know,
yeah,
I
yeah.
know. But I'm saying now you can introduce
Okay.
yourself very quickly to others, and then we can start thereafter. Let's wait to see if everyone has joined first of all.
Yeah, yeah. You are
Um,
given a 5 minute break. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hey Bala.
Yes, yes. I am there. I'm there. I'm back. Just
Okay, I'm
a
also
minute.
back. Although
Yes.
I've transitioned to my car to go to the office now. So
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I
You
might be
can
like
still
the signal might be dropping.
listen and
I can hear
contribute,
you.
right?
Yes,
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 yes.
yes. Great.
I can listen to you, but can't see the screen or anything now. Okay.
Okay.
So
Now I don't think screen is required so anymore. We will just
yeah,
discuss the
okay,
ideas now. Yeah.
okay, Bala. Sure.
I'm just waiting for Kiran. Kiran has
Yeah,
stepped out.
this. Okay,
He will
sure.
join. Okay, I think we should get started now. Kiran will join his set shortly. Yeah, Professor Sumana, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, hello. This is Sumana Gupta from IIT Kharagpur. I belong to the Department of Architecture and Regional Planning. And yes, we were into the games of Mr. Balaji, Dr. Balaji, sir, sorry. And we really got interested in it. And I think this is a good opportunity to uh, get into this platform and know each other. Currently, I was in a meeting, so I could not join and uh, take part. But I was interested in one of the slides where Grenfell Tower fire was being discussed. I saw only in the slide. I just wanted to know. I wanted to know a little more about it. I don't know. Remember the speaker? Who was the speaker? Uh,
No, I was talking about that.
yeah,
This is Grenfell Tower in UK, London. It's a
yeah, that
social
was
housing.
social
Yes,
housing and that went on fire and it was a big outbreak. So my I was
yes.
curious to know, like through game and all, do can we build up some awareness, because my interest is in fire safety also, means that
Oh,
is
is
one
it?
of my
Okay.
interest area. So then I
Okay,
thought,
great.
was there any reference to that? Yes, yes.
Yes. In
So
this game,
we have
in this
already
game,
done some,
yeah, yeah. Go
yeah. No, it's okay. We have some courses, so I was thinking, how can means a play kind of thing can happen. We can simulate something, and really could be more interesting, because fires are not happening every day, but it can ruin anything. So I was just interested, or we have a course also. So we were just thinking. I was just thinking how it could be helpful to
Okay,
us. So that was
great.
one of my query from the
I
slides.
am
Yes.
I am currently teaching another course where I don't use BiBo, but other bunch of different gamified tools and gamified exercises and activities where we get to make them aware, educate about evacuation. How do we prepare to evacuate, and
Yes.
how should you identify different classes of firefighting equipments, right? And how should you when to use what, how to
Yeah.
use it. Okay, so these are things that I try to educate in a more activity based right manner, and I'm happy to share those activities if you are interested. There are
Yes.
some games
Yes.
that I also
Please.
use, and game and post
Okay.
game a discussion and an activity whereby their understanding and interest in fire protection and safety and looking at risk
Yes.
mitigation, DR, achieving disaster risk reduction, etc. is
Yes.
are some of the goals that I try to develop through gamified approach. So I will be happy to share them separately. But again, even
Yes.
in
Thank
Bibo,
you. Thank you. Yeah.
BiBo also has
Thank you
certain
for that. Yeah.
elements of fire protection systems among the 37 cards, which we have considered, right? If you have paid attention to. So, we haven't designed a scenario specific to fire protection, but there is something called risk reduction or as a retrofit. So, you can
Yes.
design a scenario
Mhm.
in the play, extending the three scenarios to a fourth, where now you can tell, hey, this is sort of housing, this is sort of some building where there is such hazardous chemicals or materials are being stored, right? And imagine in such situations, how will you design a building using so that your fire protection and evacuation, etc., is kept in mind. So that can be a new scenario
Yeah.
that you can also introduce using the same game, which I have not tried. It's not included in this yet, but that's something that we can definitely explore. And if it required, it need
Okay.
more sort of fire protection systems for specific to a certain type of building, because every building is unique: warehouse, library, or a public building or a home, right? And
Classification. Building
uh,
classification. Yes.
so it calls for different types of fire protection systems and evacuation systems, right? And therefore, you can see how you can use this to, and simulate a fire drill or even evacuation using a game.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So- yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So great. Thank you so much for triggering that discussion point about fire protection that we can also explore using Bibo. Kiran and
Actually,
Kiran, you are new to this. Maybe we could start with you. What your observation has been listening about some of the capabilities that we have explored using game in the context of buildings and the future of buildings. So what 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 have you been observing and thinking about?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So, Balaji, frankly speaking, I have not explored much about Vivo, but I had come across a couple of similar games. Personally, I did not play by myself, but being in the design field, I think earlier before IIT, I was at NID. So I've seen how games especially the board games, have been developed. Okay, so a couple of aspects that I want to highlight is one is the excitement that we try to create, and then the second item is the surprising element as we play through the game. So how do we engage other participants with these two aspects,
Mhm.
and how do we consider these aspects while designing a board game besides the technical aspects? is
Okay.
is something that I thought I think it would be helpful if we yeah, it must be there I think in BiBo also. Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah, so I think how we integrate these aspects, like that can actually engage and motivate
Yes, yes.
the
So
potential
yes,
players.
in this game there is not. We haven't when this was the kind of primitive game that we designed in terms of engagement level. Although it is interactive, I wouldn't call it as a game because there is no so much element of fun rather than more serious activity through which you can learn some of these topics. However, games calls for more deeper engagement and fun that we have to strike to balance as a designer, right? And in Bibo, as of now, this particular version, there is not much of fun and laughter or that is integrated to the game design itself, right? That's so that is I mean, I have this in my mind. But it is good that you have also surfaced this. How do we bring that into the design of Bibo? Maybe the next version that we can think about, maybe co-creating together, can we can keep that in mind as to how in the design can we bring in rewards, can we bring in elements of what do you call, for example, in a game that I do play, there are aspects like what do you call, act it out, okay, which is like dumb charades, for example, that we all know about. So they, how do you now act, and when people start acting and then trying to identify what is a clue, then there is some always fun when people do some actions, right? So I've seen participants enjoy and have fun when these sort of mechanisms are integrated into the design of a serious game. So we can continue to explore about what, how do we balance those aspects into the game, design of the game, subsequently. But
And
thanks for
another one
bringing
more
that up.
aspect, yeah. Since you
Yes.
mentioned about making this as an online on digital platform also, this game, I think there are several app-based games that I've come across in this,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the context of climate change and sustainability. I think UN has also done some app in these lines. Recently, I was just
Mm-hmm.
going through several, such games like app-based
Okay.
games, mobile games, as
Uh-huh.
well as some board games.
Uh-huh.
Like I think Earth 5R is, you must have heard some of these games, right? Like Hoppy Frog,
Okay.
biomes of, I think in Indian context also, I think there are a couple of games that were developed. One is that biomes of Nilgiris, if I'm not
Okay.
wrong. And then the board games, a couple of them I remember. One is, I think, the Keep Cool,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then Ecotopia. I think
Okay.
these were, yeah, some games. I think I made some notes earlier while
Okay.
looking at this. Yeah. So
Acha. Okay. Okay.
I think we can refer to these. I think also I think bring in these aspects of, like, if we are talking about like emphasizing the participant, like, what elements they would be expecting while using a board game is something I think we can think about those aspects and how we integrate them in the
Mm-hmm.
design. Something that
Mm-hmm.
I think will be
Okay.
helpful. Right? Yeah.
Okay. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Yes, you're right. They a bunch of games on mobile platforms also. So there is this big database called Steam games. Okay, Steam games refer to games on made on that Steam platform. I am not very familiar with that, but that's another large platform where game designers, especially digital game designers, both mobile and computer games, it's a database of that. So there is a lot more information about various types of games. Thousands of games are there. I mean, but currently the interest we have sort of focused on physical analog games. Yeah, Kaggle dataset has got that. So there are restricted to physical games, whereby, because anyway in classroom And we also, in most of the engagements that we do as be it in conferences and otherwise, we are tired with Zoom and online and digital presence. We thought having a digital platform to interact and facilitate that interaction would be something meaningful. And we all crave for that after COVID, right? And therefore, how or why shouldn't we create such a platform where learning and collaboration and problem solving happens through physical interaction, is where we started thinking about physical games at first. But then we also realized soon the ability to transfer this game physically, ship it to a distant place, is becoming a challenge. And that's where a need for digital version of the game also has arose. But however, me and Ashan have been trying to experiment with this, where at least in BiBo, the game is lightweight, in the sense there are not many game elements. So I have given him the files, and he could easily print it and prepare the game and deliver it there. For example, we can also follow, therefore, when the game elements are not many, as in the case of BiBo, we can also see how DIY type of games can be designed, where it becomes easy, portable, and also transferable, and somebody can, use it in any part of the world. And the license and attributes can be given to the original creator. So that is another idea also, Kiran. Yeah.
Okay, I think that would be interesting. Yeah, maybe I think
So
I
in
have a
fact,
couple of other
Ashan did
friends
that.
from design. Yeah, design.
And some of the games that I have also put up in the slide early, the net and the water meter, the game, right? So those are open source, and they have all, the designer has put all the the game elements there. So we can also see how we can create open source games. For example, if you do not want to protect it, in future, where we can create an open source community of users who can use it, give due credits to the original creators, and then try to also create all the assessment schemes, etc. If someone wants to do a research using this as a tool, then he or she can use this, exercise it as a survey or a tool post game, and collect data and share with the community. So those are some things that we can also explore, how to make it widely used. For example, climate frisk and as a game has been widely used, and they have created an entire community of 60,000 plus facilitators around the world, and they've created how a game should be played. So everything is kind of moderated and regulated by the original creator. And yet and they've created an entire platform where facilitators growth using growth in the program, and as a facilitator is also being tracked and measured and rewarded. So that is something that I also found as another avenue that we could possibly explore gradually, when the to build a community around games, for example.
I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that would be exciting as well, even for like young group, right? Yeah,
Which group?
younger age group, like.
Ah, ah. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. You're right. Yeah. Uh, okay. Any other thoughts from anyone? Ashan, I'll go back to the slide where I have put some discussion points just for our quick reference, but 1 minute. Ashan, you're welcome to talk, unmute and talk perhaps, and share your thoughts. You have also done some workshops using this, um, undergrad students who came for your summer school. So what were your observations and thoughts, and are there any insights that you have got where you see a positive extending BiBo further? Um, Prashant? You're on mute. And Karpagam, maybe if you want to also share some of your ideas based on construction project and research around some thematic areas that you are working in building construction sector. How do you see the application of these sort of tools, and how do we enhance them? Perhaps if there are any way that we can build the capacity of this game further from where it is now.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was about to share a couple of thoughts regarding this. And by the way, when we played in Kolkata, we had a mixed set of stakeholders. Like we had students, we had professionals, we also had school kids. So I was just about to tell that when it comes to the target user groups, you were mentioning different group of stakeholders who are the target users for this game. So you were telling about students, researchers, educators, policymakers, and organizations, right? So one thing was when we played in Kolkata, one observation that I had, when it came to the students, they were a bit excited and they were trying to understand what were the cards in the game. While the architectural students, for them, it was pretty simple. So, is it possible to have a customized version for each of these stakeholders? In that case, it would be exciting for them to play the game. Because for architectural students, it was like they completed it in just 5 minutes or so, and they were just figuring out like what to do next. So that was an observation that I had. Whereas the school kids were very excited and were discussing. So that is one part. Is it possible, because the target groups are different and each of these group would have a different level of awareness regarding the green buildings? So is it possible to customize for each set of these stakeholders to narrow down a
Okay.
bit? And so that was one thought that I had and I would like to share. uh,
Okay.
and also,
Taken.
yeah. And one more thing. You mentioned about this group of stakeholders, like owners, tenant, occupants,
Yeah.
and one more you mentioned, facility managers. Whereas
Uh-huh.
in the game, we had these different life cycle, like structures, interiors, services, retrofitting. So when it
Yeah.
comes to, like, I saw a bit of a mismatch between integrating this, because none of these stakeholders would be involved during these phases. Actually, my work is also kind of similar. We try to understand,
Mm-hmm.
like, currently I'm working with different groups of stakeholders, like the manufacturers, contractors, developers, and owners of the building. So to understand, like, what are the challenges when it comes to sustainability integration in buildings. So in that case, what
Mm-hmm.
we see is each group has a different perception of building, I mean, green buildings, and when they try to integrate and work together, the challenges become evident, like in integrating their ideas. So
Mm-hmm.
I was just about to tell that when none of these stakeholders are involved, like owner, tenant, occupant, and they are not in the decision making of structural design or retrofitting, like how do we, yeah, that part was slightly unclear for me. So if you could clarify that, or if you have some thoughts to improvise that, it would be good. So yeah,
In
these were.
fact, yes. It's a valid point. This is where we thought, the play itself brings together all this. Traditionally or conventionally, they are, yeah, they come in different parts of the life cycle, right? Somebody designs and delivers the project. Somebody uses the building, and somebody maintains it when it is in use. So therefore, different actors or stakeholders in this case that we have mapped comes in different point in time in the life of a building. And yet how do we consider when the building is being built and designed very up in the front, right? How do we consider the interests of all these different stakeholders who will also come later, right? Is something that we wanted to also simulate in this activity, right? And that is
Mhm.
where keeping their interest, for example, tenant who may come in the future. We never know what sort of different tenants will move in, and what their requirements can be. A bank is different from, for example, a normal office. An office is different from some other different types of offices, right? Or a library, or something else. So how will you design some of the most of the elements without having to demolish the structure, yet retain many of the services and the core of the building, and then adapt to the building is something that can we think very early, right? In terms of designing ventilation systems, or the facade, or even other things, right? And what are the things that require some adaptation in the future when the tenants move in? So how do you keep that in mind is a simulation that we can do here, right?
Mhm.
As you pointed out, and that to me is integrating sustainability and the life cycle of it, is already embedded into this game, into this activity.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, that's true with actually residential buildings, it's true. And yeah,
And
building in
the reason,
commercial buildings, that's
uh,
a slightly a different
this
thing where occupants are not very much involved in the beginning. They come more towards the end, even after sometimes everything, the building is completely over except the interiors, maybe. Yeah, for
mm,
residential buildings,
mm.
it's rightly, as you said, yeah, that's true. And uh, one
I also
just.
sometimes,
Hmm.
after the Calcutta workshop, I got also began to think, right, how many of us, kind of thinking about the application of play in the society, right? We are, none of us in our society, in the choices of buildings that we buy, an apartment or a house that we construct, construction, at least you have some decisions that you can consciously make in terms of buying and installing and designing architectural elements of the building. But think about apartments that we have to buy. It is developers who would sell things, and the way that they are also selling is by, let's say, amenities. Number of amenities is what they communicate or pitch as a marketing strategy, right? And so neither do they have intention to communicate clearly about sustainability. And also us, we who makes decisions in buying, we don't even ask, neither we are informed about what is the impact of the building that I buy today will have in 20 years later, right? Energy costs might go high, and then circularity principles are we using. So none of these things that we also ask when we are buying an apartment or a house, right, upfront. So can now games like this raise awareness among the public and general public who are making those decisions, in cities to buy, right? And can we now shift the needle in terms of how market should be, responding towards sustainability, right? And only when we start asking, then perhaps the developers will start building, is what I am also thinking. Otherwise, because they also respond to what society requires, and then they sell buildings with or market buildings with 50 amenities, world class amenities, let's say including swimming pool, cricket pitch and whatnot, car park and whatnot. So if we start to ask them, hey, we need circular buildings where we want refurb construction demolition waste use karke we want to make, have a building which has low carbon. When we start asking, then probably they will be forced to think about how can we make our new buildings and new properties sustainable, is what I think.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, it's true. Actually, we recently come across. I'm just writing my paper. I recently come across one interesting work, and that says that this specific sustainable construction, like we have this vicious circle of blame. Like developers says that there is no demand for buildings, whereas
Yeah,
the buyers say that we don't have choice. Like
correct.
we are aware of green buildings, but we don't have a choice but just to buy what is
Exactly.
existing. And
Exactly.
contractors say that there is no, developers are not looking for it. So like it's more like a vicious circle where
Uh-huh.
stakeholders blame each other. I just thought that I will share in the same context. And just one more thing, with school children, would it also be interesting to dumb this version a little bit? Uh, because for them, instead of like structural systems, interiors, and things like that, for school children, would it be good for them if we could dumb this a little bit down,
Okay.
so that because it is a little bit tough for them to understand these, right? The
Okay.
structural systems and for the each cards. I don't know. That's how I felt. I just played the
Acha.
game once, so just my just some thoughts you can think about. Like, would it be good to
Hmm.
reduce
No,
the
in fact,
complexity a little bit? Mm.
in fact, it is not because the person who took part, in IIT Madras workshop,
Mm.
she brought her children from, school children, sixth or seventh or eighth grade children from
Mm.
Dindigul in Tamil Nadu. She
Okay.
brought all the way to Madras. It's just that the barrier to communication and understanding by the
Mm-hmm.
facilitator was not there, was not because they don't understand English,
Mm-hmm.
facilitation. So she tried to translate that into Tamil, and the children quite understood well. It in fact
Mm-hmm.
seeded their interest further in this topic. Both the teacher and the children, they went back home and they tried to do more, dig more, do research in green building practices, green building design principles, etc. And they built a mobile app to raise awareness also further. So I mean that also testifies the kind of idea that it is still kind of counterintuitive, the titles and the picture
Mm-hmm.
etc that we have had, even to
Mm.
children in India and rural India,
Okay. Okay.
just that if there is a good facilitation in the native language that happens, I think it's quite
Uh-huh.
adequate to bridge the knowledge gap in terms of understanding about the card elements or the game, card design elements that we have.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's interesting to know that they played with interest, but maybe then reduce, like increase the complexity for some cases, like a bit of a customization. I thought might be interesting for the other stakeholders also, like for organizations, maybe a slightly a higher level of complexity and things like that. So yeah, just
Okay.
that.
Uh, uh, Hi, Bala. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes,
Sorry,
yes,
uh, yeah, I got cut off because there was
yes, yes.
no
Go ahead, Dashan.
signal in that area. So on complexity. So yeah, for Bibo, more like because right the cost of the materials and also the green elements and the retrofit elements. So, but each time it's just one thing, right? So I think at least when I did it for the undergraduate level students, it was a bit like they not sophisticated enough, I would say. So they got the points, but as a game for it to be more fun, to be more, we can try to increase the complexity a little bit. For example, in Prospera, we have to think about the optimization in terms of like the spatial optimization as well, like where do we position these locations based on the geography, based on the climate scenarios and all that. So the students, because maybe it's because of the complexity, maybe it's because of some other reason, but that might be one. And the other point I wanted to raise you when you asked earlier about the distribution, I think the distribution model that you have currently, like making it pseudo open source, and then like you just the kit of parts, it's easy to recreate. Again, if we were to make things more complicated, make it like digital, like a digital app or a game or something like that, I think then definitely we might need to think about making it more sophisticated and more challenging so that we have that engagement, because in digital platforms people expect more than, I guess, physical games. Yeah, so that's my 2 cents on it.
Okay. And thinking about problems that, okay, let's talk also about some problems apart from engagement, sorry, the enhancements in the game. Some problems where you find, for example, we started with Professor Sumana mentioning how can BiBo be used in fire protection exercise, right? Or a drill or an evacuation, and assessing the fire protection or fire design, safety of a building. So can we now think about, based on individually, we guys are all of us are doing some research. Can we think about potential problems that we can study as research problems using this as a tool?
On top of my head, Bala, after the Grenfell disaster,
Yeah.
they in the UK they had this safety regulator was established, and quite recently they enforced this BSA, the Building Safety Act, which is like next level. They are checking for all these different design details and everything. So now what goes into, like, because last time around the problem was in the insulation, right? So now they are going into all of these different details. How is the bracketing done, and all that design details are now being checked by the authorities in before they give the building permits. So I think there is some space for BiBo to look at it, because BiBo in essence like also looks at like what are the different elements and how they come together, right? So maybe that
Yeah.
on the like if we dovetail that particular act and the requirements of the act, I think there might be some opportunity to improve, or how, or not to improve. Like what I want to say is like how we use BiBo in order to give more like sense into these kind of problems.
Okay. I didn't, we lost you a bit
Sorry.
because the signal was choppy when you mentioned about Grenfell Tower accident.
Yeah.
And what triggered subsequently as,
So after
within the
Grenfell,
regulation?
the government established what is known as a building safety regulator. No, it was there, but
Okay.
they gave it more power. And then this person, Dame Judith Hackett, who was a chemical and process engineer, was appointed to be the leading chair of that particular regulator. And then after there was this committee hearings and all that, and then they published their findings.
Yes.
So on the back
Yes.
of that, what they found was, as everybody would know from the construction industry, is the construction industry, they are not doing these things properly. But since she came from
Yes.
this chemical and process engineering, like oil and gas background, so where the safety is like very
Priority,
much,
high
yeah,
priority.
exactly. So now,
So what can we learn from other sector, is it, in terms of
exactly.
practices?
Yeah, so that's what they have now done, is this new act called the Building Safety Act. So an
Okay.
amendments to that is to look at like all the design parameters in the building. Like now, if you are to do a building, like let's say a big apartment building or a hospital or whatnot, you really have to. There's, I think 72 week. I think it's, yeah, 72 weeks of uh, assessments of the building design is done by the building safety regulator. So that's a long time to
I
do,
see.
like all these different materials, all the different interfaces,
Ah,
even like
okay,
you said,
okay.
bracketing and all that. So all these things are now being assessed on a regulatory level. So that's something I feel like BiBo can contribute to, like, see, like, because BiBo is also about the different components and the integration, right? So maybe there's
Yeah,
some
yeah.
space there.
Okay, specifically, okay, let's take this particular example that you surfaced. I mean, currently the way that we play the game is to kind of help them to a surface level understanding of what goes in the building, but how it is being commissioned, what sort of hazards can arise, and how will the hazards cascade within the building as a system, be it in ventilation or fire safety or other systems, is something we don't really talk into the depth. Okay, in the game, neither the participants will be aware through the play. It's just that what goes into the building to make a building, right? What comes in future? How do you anticipate now? Right, not the risk, but in terms of building construction itself. But another layer that you are trying to add now is how do you now anticipate risk in the design? Okay, and how do you now evaluate the decision? Okay, based on understanding the the consequences of the design decision, for example, right? And how do you bring that into the play is what you, I think, you're trying to tell, right? Can
Yeah,
be a
yeah,
next
yeah, 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 yeah,
level of
yeah.
detail that we can develop.
Yes,
But how to
exactly.
develop is something that we can think.
How
Okay.
to develop is I think a separate workshop altogether. But yeah, that's in essence what I was thinking. Like, because
Okay.
there is some real value that we can bring if we really look at and try to identify those consequences and all those things like you said. Yeah, that was my point.
Okay. 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 I'm making note of that. Any other thoughts from anyone? Yeah, so we have 5 or 10 more minutes. And think about teaching and education. Are there any ideas there? We have discussed about the extension of game problems that we can explore possibly. Teaching and education, if there are any ideas or that you guys are working on some projects or in classroom some subjects that you're teaching, do you see an opportunity where this can be embedded as a game, as a lesson that you want to share? Or do you want help in terms of adapting it to a certain course that you're teaching, whatever level it is? How do we adapt to that? Are there any thoughts around that?
Yeah, Balaji, I think gaming is something that will definitely, I think, increase the involvement of students in a particular course. But
Mm-hmm.
I think most of us have not still sorted like how we bring those into our teaching. I think we're
Okay.
still exploring in a sense like because course runs for at least like 3-4 months, right? And
Uh,
then games are usually a shorter period. I remember one particular assignment I got while I was doing my PhD at NTU. We were
uh-huh.
given a app that was developed part of our entrepreneurship course, and then we were
Okay.
asked to explore the app, the game app, and then write about it, like
Yeah, very good.
our
Exactly.
feedback about the game. So
Correct.
that is something that was given, but if we talk about the
But how
overall
did you
objective
find
of
it?
the,
How did
yeah,
you find it? How did you find that particular exercise in the classroom exercise or activity
yeah, it
in terms
was,
of
I
learning?
think it was, yeah, it was definitely exciting.
Mm.
But I cannot recall what exactly I did. Maybe I could just, go through the
Okay.
assignment that I had done back.
Okay.
But students, as I said, I think the young generation students would definitely be excited if something like this, becomes part of the course
Mm.
in terms of,
Okay.
getting them engaged. Um,
Okay.
for certain activity, if not for the entire course. Okay,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
if you are probably running a project-based learning for the entire course, then that would be a different scale altogether. I can think, right?
Mm, Okay, so good, good. Thanks for bringing this point. The way I just wanted to share, how do I structure a lesson using a game, not just BiBo, because BiBo I have less used in classroom in the courses that I teach. It's not directly relevant. In other games that I do, a lesson which looks like a lecture, 2 hours, 1 hour they typically play a game. Okay, first one
Mm.
hour where it is briefed. They play about 40-45 minutes. Sometimes it is longer, but I cut it short to first 1 hour of the lecture. Second hour, I design a post game activity whereby, for example, a game that I usually teach now in disasters is a simple game, board game on multi hazards. There is a storm, there is what do you call, there is earthquake, there is fire, there is something else. The fourth one I'm unable to recall.
Yeah,
So there are
is
four
this by
hazards.
the UN disaster risk reductions?
No, no,
I
no,
think they
no. This
also
is a
have a,
different
yeah,
game.
okay,
This is a
okay,
different
okay,
game. So it's
okay.
a board game. They play very simple. So what are the different responses when you land up in different disasters? How should you, or what you should do, and what you should not do? Okay, how should you be prepared? How should you help your, friends and family members or friends in the community that you live? So these are some things that you will exercise as actions. Okay, and it is your actions are empowered by a response cards. So whenever you land up in a disaster and you have to draw a card from a cell, and then you will understand what is a disaster, how should you respond. So you are given certain responses from a random deck, and if you have a response, you will not risk losing your life when you have to give that response card for the disaster that you have encountered. Okay, then you save your life. So there are tokens of life that you get in the beginning of the game. So you continue to safeguard your life whenever you encounter a natural hazard. Okay, by using this response card, or giving this response card. Now when you don't have, you can ask your friends. It's a collaborative play. You can ask your friends in the play to help you save your life. When they do that, there is an incentive for them to get a hero token or something like that, right? So therefore it reinforces the message that community disaster preparedness is key to making and building a resilient society for future. While you think about this, safeguarding your own life and property, you should also help others by, and this is a natural element of mechanics that is built into the game, where where you are incentivized by for the actions that you by helping others in the game. So now this is how, yeah, UNDRR also talks about in collaboration and participation by all different actors to build a resilient society. Now at the end of the game, the player who's considered winner is the person who has collected more hero tokens or the star tokens, right? Because he or she has helped most, other lives he has saved, and he has also saved his own life. There are three lives that you begin with, but at the end of the game, you should at least have, by the end of the trail, you should have at least have one life left, and earn more rewards of hero tokens by helping others. So you see that the game encourages you this particular education, and along the way there are fun elements of dumb charades and other things, quiz, etc., that is also blended into the game design. Finally, now the post game activity that I design or run is where this game is abstract. It doesn't have any context of where is the city, what makes the design of the city or governance of the city vulnerable to various hazards it faces. So in my post game activity, I structure a lesson whereby they have to now collaborate again in teams and think about a city that they are most familiar with in the group. Okay, so let's say that it is a group of six people. They have to think about city that most of them come from, maybe Bombay or Bangalore or Chennai or Calcutta. Then they now have to identify. I guide them as with some facilitated hints as to what you should now do in the step one, step two, step three, and progressively they sketch the city. It's like more designing their city. It is called as counter mapping, as an exercise in ethnography, where they now sketch a city. They identify what in the design and planning of the city makes it vulnerable, right? They identify who people are vulnerable, what policies and what design aspects makes them vulnerable. How should you now, in the next step, having identified the vulnerabilities in the design of the city and community, they have to identify strategies to build resilience into the city for certain disasters that their city are prone to, or hazards they are prone to. In the second step, once they do that and complete that, they go to the third step of the game, an activity where they now have to exercise this to talk to, make a pitch to the authority of the city, right? Saying that this is what our city requires to build disaster resilience, right? And here is what you should do, and here are our voices as active citizens, is what they now make a pledge and write a pitch to the commissioner or mayor of the city. So this concludes a post game experience. So then they play the game, they understand what to do, what not to do from an abstract game, and then they apply that and connect the dots to the lived experiences of cities that they have most connection to, and thereby they now can observe the city better. They can act upon it or think about helping the city, bring resilience into the city better. So that's how I structure a 2 hour lesson using a game and a post game activity, for example.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one example, but I do have designed for various games different post game activities. Yeah, so I think that is where some sort of hand holding is required for teachers like us to think about what now with Chat GPT and AI, it becomes quite easy to help generate a lot of different ideas of engagement and designing a lesson around that. I have done a lot of lessons using Chat GPT where after a game, what should I do? Then you can humanize it, you can adapt it based on your course objectives and program objectives, etc., that you can specifically map. It helps you. So I have been playing around with ChatGPT to design activities and assessments, post game and capstone projects also. So I think we have now various tools at our disposal to design creatively lessons using games. So that's a thought. If so, we are coming to a close almost, but if there are not many other thoughts, I think we can then call it off, and I will share some of these ideas and notes and recordings also, and see how do we, and you also please feel free to communicate any thoughts that comes to you in terms of doing some of these activities together. For example, can we now do a call for paper or write an article or proposal where you feel game can be a tool to study some problem. I'll be happy to actually reconvene, and then we can think about how do we do that. So those are some thoughts that I also wanted to leave you with. Right, and if you want a copy of this that you want to try out, please do ping me at any time, and I'll be happy to share it with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Bala.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
it's a good
So
discussion.
thank you so much then, for taking time and staying back and sharing your ideas. Also, Kiran, Ashan, Professor Sumana, and then Karpagam. Ram had to drop his set a while ago, but yeah, I'll share this, the notes with everyone. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you again. Take care. Have a nice day.
Thanks, Bala. Bye, team.